Happy Friday to you, and I hope it's a really good Friday for you. So far, nobody's shot at me or thrown a rock at me today. So come on into my little world for just a moment. I was thinking about an event that took place about 3 decades ago, a little more than that, when I was in eastern Kentucky to present a series of lessons to the church there. While I was there, I took the opportunity with another fellow to go and visit Paris, Kentucky. Actually outside of Paris, Kentucky, to the area of Cane Ridge. Visited the old Cane Ridge meeting house. Something that I saw there has stayed with me over the years. Well, many things I saw. But Cane Ridge is where the preacher Barton Stone, who was so strong in restoring the idea of teaching just plainly the Bible without all the connections to groups and denominations and so forth. Anyway, Barton Stone preached there at Cane Ridge. And the old wooden meeting house was kind of a large wooden structure, and in it had an upstairs loft. And the access to the loft was on the outside of the building. And if I understood right, and I hope I'm not misstating anything, on the outside of the building there would have been a ladder that was there. Not a nice stairway, not a fancy loft, but there would have been a ladder on the outside where you would climb up the outside of the building and through that door, and there you could find a place to sit in that loft. In fact, it was told me that there were really probably no chairs or seating there. There might have been some benches. And then, of course, other people came in through the main doors on the first floor. But the thing about that loft was it was the place where people of color, slaves, would come and they would attend the church services while they're there, and they would sit or stand in that upper loft, sometimes crowding the place into that place. But as I said, they had to climb a ladder on the outside and come through those doors. We look at it today and we think there would be all the other people, the typically white people sitting downstairs. This is not a fancy place, would not have been a fancy place. They were not necessarily wealthy people. They were just people. But the white people came in and sat down inside, and there Barton Stone would preach to them and others along the way as well. And it seems so unfair, and it seems so unacceptable to us today to look at it and say that we would segregate in such a way, keeping those, especially the black people, the slaves, away from the white people. But probably at the time they thought that was very liberal, to allow them to actually be in the same building as the rest. We may decry it, we may belittle their racism and so forth, but they were very much products of their time, and we can look back at them, we can criticize them for what they were, and yes, it was really not the right thing. And I've often thought, how will we, in years from now, look back on this time? For I look today, and now people can attend of whatever race they are and whatever place they want to attend. They can live in whatever neighborhood they want to. When I was a young boy, we were still segregated. It wasn't until I reached just about high school age that forced integration and the mixture of the races became much more prevalent. And in the years that have followed since then, say 50 years since then, we have lost a lot of that sense of segregation among people. Yes, there is still bias in the hearts of people. There are still those that hold prejudiced values, if you want to call them values, prejudiced positions. There are those that think they are better than others, whether on one side of a racial line or on another. But most, I think, and you go into neighborhoods across cities like this and you find that there are mixed cultures and mixed races wherever you find them, people speaking sometimes different languages. The colors of their skins vary, and most people don't care. Yes, we see the difference. We know the color of the skin. There's no doubt about it. But we don't care what color our neighbor is. We don't care that they have a different heritage in the sense of it being a prejudice or a bias. We all like our own, of course. But we can live anywhere. We can be a part of anywhere. We stand next to one another. We play sports together. We may even worship together. We've come a long ways. As I said, there's still bias in the hearts of people. There's still prejudice. There's still bigotry. Maybe there always will be. I know as we approach the holiday that celebrates some things about Martin Luther King Jr., we remember his great statement about being judged not by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. Sometimes I worry that we've gotten off of that we've gotten away from the mixture and overlooking those things towards looking to it and making that even more important today. I hate for us to go in that direction. Because what it does is it so, again, segregates us that we lose sight of the greater value. Because the thing that was on my mind today when I think about these things, and I think how far we've come and how much we've worked on, and I think about how the vast majority of us look at these things today, I think how sad it is that we're still fighting a battle when we could be making peace. Jesus offered to us some of the greatest challenges and recognitions from a godly perspective when he laid out those beautiful verses that we call the Beatitudes in Matthew 5. And when you get down to the 8th verse, it talks about being pure in heart, for they can truly see God. But the 9th verse is one that ought to stick with us. For it says, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God. We've been working on it a long time. Our personal hearts, our personal biases. And I believe we are taught to be people who see beyond the superficial differences and truly do see the heart and the content of the character. I know just a few words like this can't change the status of the world, but if it works on me and maybe even you, perhaps we've begun to make a little bit of difference. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they are the ones who shall be called the sons of God. I hope you have a great Friday, and I hope it's a day that you recognize how blessed we are. And we'll look to share some more things a little further down the road. Thanks for being with me today.